If you're someone who has just a layman's knowledge of technology, chances are that you've heard the name Signal for the first time over the last couple of weeks. And if you're wondering why, it was just two words from the world's richest man used Signal that prompted millions to download the app, along with unintentionally increasing the stock market value of another company named Signal. But that's a story for another time. Elon Musk wasn't the only one offering his support to the app. Even Edward Snowden and Jack Dorsey joined the bandwagon. As someone wise once said, if it's safe enough for Snowden, it's safe enough for you. So what exactly makes this app so good? And who are the minds behind it? Let's find out. Moxie Marlinspike created Signal, a name that may not pique your interest as much as his partner Brian Acton, who is not only a founder of WhatsApp, but also Moxie's supporter throughout Signal's journey, and the David to the Goliath he created. Moxie had an idea that would allow people to have private text conversations truly. Now Brian had a wealth of management and startup experience, especially after selling WhatsApp to Facebook.
Facebook has bought the mobile messaging service WhatsApp for $19 billion.
He also had money, therefore making for the perfect partner. Together they worked to create Signal Messenger. The app's journey is known for the dedication and passion that went behind the mission. Practically nothing got in their way. The company is even known as a not-for-profit that survives on grants and donations. Now before we go any further, let's learn a little more about this power team. Matthew Rosenfield, known professionally as Moxie Marlinspike, was born in Georgia, but moved to San Francisco in the late 1990s and worked for several technology companies. Always having an interest in computers, he tried learning everything that he could about them, part of which included playing pranks on his friends using their own computers against them. Looking at where he is today, I definitely consider it an efficient way to learn. Moxie was a firm believer in the saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So he wasn't someone who'd isolate himself in books, but is someone who often took time to enjoy life. He traveled around the Bahamas with his friends on a sailboat that they renovated, and even cataloged the journey in a documentary called Hold Fast. If anyone is interested in watching a young and dreadlocked Moxie narrating his adventures, the video is available online. After returning to the United States, he focused on his career for a while and co-founded Whisper Systems, which launched two apps, Text Secure and Redphone, the first being used for texting and the latter for calling. In 2011, the company was acquired by Twitter, but even so, Moxie continued to develop the app security. Although it may not seem like it, Moxie had the freedom to concentrate on what he always wanted, along with resources to help him get there. And when he was eventually promoted as head of the security team at Twitter, he decided to leave and set up another company called Open Whisper Communication in 2013. Here, he and his friends started developing the Signal protocol, a system that would enable encryption of chats, or scrambling text messages until they've reached the intended person. The idea had soon become one of his life goals, and he didn't stop until it was perfect. Unsurprisingly, when it was launched, Signal was so successful that WhatsApp, Facebook, and Google implemented it in their messaging services. During its development phase, Moxie had introduced his idea to Brian at a party, who was instantly impressed and wanted to be a part of the project somehow. Brian was very different from Moxie in almost every aspect, but their ideas worked well. Brian had grown up in Florida and worked hard to get a scholarship to study engineering at the University of Pennsylvania. But 1 year later, he changed his mind and shifted to Stanford University to pursue a degree in computer science. After he graduated, he worked at several other big companies including Apple, Adobe, and Yahoo, though Yahoo was just starting out when he joined. It was there at Yahoo that he met Jan Koum, who would go on to become a close friend and co-founder of WhatsApp. He was the man behind the idea of developing a messaging service and had no trouble convincing Brian of its potential. This leading to the birth of WhatsApp in 2009. And well, you know, the rest is history. By 2014, Facebook had chalked out a deal to buy WhatsApp for $19 billion. This huge amount shows how much of a threat Brian and Jan's creation created for the tech mammoth, and the lengths to which they were willing to go to acquire them. Ironically, both Brian and Jan had applied to work at Facebook in the year 2009 but were rejected. While Brian got to work with Facebook after all, differences soon emerged between them. In 2017, he decided to leave. After staying low for a while, in the year 2018, Brian and Moxie had a big announcement to make: the establishment of the Signal Foundation. It became public knowledge that Brian was investing $50 million into the company, and at the end of 3 years, they would review their situation. As the months went by, Signal slowly started getting more users, largely journalists and human rights activists who needed to ensure that their chats were secure and private. This was a welcome change for the founders, who were happy to see the app being used by people other than computer geeks. Their words, not ours. In 2020, the app registered its highest number of downloads up to that point in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States. Activists and peaceful protesters needed a secure medium of communication without the police monitoring their every move, and they all turned to Signal. Even after the sale of WhatsApp to Facebook, Brian's motivation to work always related to his desire to make the world a better place. He knew that there was always room for improvement, which made him decide against relaxing on the beach sipping cocktails. The bittersweetness of their app succeeding, but the unfortunate situation where something bad had to happen for them to get there, was something that didn't go unseen by him. Cut to 2021, and Brian's benchmark of 3 years has neared its end. They will be extremely pleased to see where they stand today. In just the second week of the new year, Elon's tweet has sent everyone scampering to download the app. The blowup even led to problems at the company's end. Right now, they're on the brink of a recruitment process. Long gone are the days where 7 employees could hold the fort of Signal. Yup, that's how they started out, with a handful of coders sitting in a single room just typing away on their screens. As NASA engineer Jay Green once said, "If it matters, it produces controversy." And so, even Signal has received its share of backlash, mainly from government heads around the world. While David Cameron has called such apps a haven for terrorists to communicate, Barack Obama admitted that they were a cause for concern. They have recognized their utility, however, and the app was reportedly used even by Donald Trump's administration officials. As with everything in nature, there are positives and there are negatives to the app. One of the biggest positives that it has is a combination of innovative and hardworking founders. They have been on their toes while bringing out every possible development and improvement to the app. They have already made their presence felt on the big stage, and they are here to stay. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithm, so more people can see our videos and so that you can be notified when we launch our next video. We try and put out at least one new one per week, and as you can imagine, the research and editing alone of these type of videos takes us close to 18 hours. So we would really appreciate it if you could also check out our Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can support our work. We produce over 12 videos per month, so that is literally 8 cents per video. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at our next unmasking.